One single intensive session. That's all it took for a corporate banking professional that I was working with to go from, I need to build this freedom in this network marketing business that I'm building on the side, to realizing that she actually wanted something completely different. Julie came to me and she was stuck. She was capable, she was smart, she had some coaching training already, but something was blocking her. By the end of our intensive session, she had released limiting beliefs that she didn't even know that she had. And the really cool part was that at the end, she'd actually discovered that she wanted to be a coach. She wanted to become a coach. Not a network marketing professional and build that, but a coach. And today, she coaches boards of directors. So let me show you what actually happened during our intensive session. I actually met Julie on Facebook, and it was in a network marketing group. Because at the time, I was part of some network marketing groups on Facebook, not the actual company themselves, because that's how I was finding some clients. I would be in some groups, I would find people who would express some challenges that they had, I'd start up a conversation, and hopefully one thing would lead to another, and become a client. And I actually got a few clients out of it. Julie was one of them. She was a corporate banking executive in the US, very capable, had a little bit of coaching training already, and years of personal development work. And she was actually quite interesting because she told me that she had actually come from a religious cult, and she broke free from that cult a number of years ago, and she was rebuilding her life, which was, look, it's an incredible story in itself. So naturally, there's a lot of beliefs and a lot of challenges which come from what was instilled in her when she was in that cult. On the surface though, look, she had it all together. It seemed like she had it all together. But when we started talking, she said, look, Nathan, I've got some doubts, and I've got some fears about starting this business or building this freedom that I want with this network marketing, but I'm not quite sure what to do. I'm probably lack a little bit of clarity, and there's a few things which just keep tripping me up, and I can't seem to be making that momentum. Classic surface level problems, right? I could see it almost straight away, but I still had to dig deeper. But this is what was actually happening. She was bumping up against these internal blocks that she couldn't quite name, didn't quite know what they were. So she had all the knowledge and all the training and all the capability, but she's just struggled to move forward. She kept telling herself these same limiting stories over and over, and she knew it was a story, but she just couldn't break through it. And for her, the stakes were high because she really wanted to create freedom through this network marketing that she was doing. That was the plan. That was the plan all along. Ever since she decided she wanted something a little bit more, but something about it didn't quite feel right for her, and she couldn't quite figure it out. So after some messages back and forth, and we chatted for a little while, she booked an intensive session and ultimately some coaching as well, because she realized to herself, I need help. And it was that awareness alone that told me that, yeah, she's ready. Look, Julie had done everything right. She had some coaching training. She had done a lot of personal development. She was very self-aware, very growth-minded, which is a lot of the stuff which naturally comes with network marketing business. They go all in on that. But she was still stuck. And thinking about it, I can't quite remember what she had tried before we did our intensive session or before she came to me. Because that was a few years ago right now, and I just can't quite remember. But it doesn't really matter. Because whatever she had tried previously was just treating the surface level problems. I need more clarity around my business. I need to overcome my doubts. I need to figure out this network marketing stuff. And the cost to Julie was time and energy. She was watching herself repeat the same patterns, remaining stuck, telling herself the same story over and over, but keeping her stuck in exactly the same place. But deep down, she knew that there was something else. There was something that she wasn't letting herself see. That's why she came to the intensive. So we're about halfway through the intensive session, maybe a little bit more. It's been a couple of hours now. And Julie tells me the exact same story for the third or fourth time during this session. And I felt it. I felt the energy, and I felt, you know what? She's ready for this now. This is not going to be comfortable, but she's ready. And so I said to her, you know what? This is bullshit. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, this is just the same story, isn't it? And she said, yeah, it is. So I said to her, well, what's the purpose of the story? And she goes quiet. And eventually she says, love. So I said, what about love? She said, I need to love myself. And so I said to her, yeah, you already know that. You've said it before. So what's the real problem? I already knew from Julie, when she told me the story about coming from the religious cult and some of the things that she had witnessed or was taught to believe, like literally ingrained into her psyche. It makes a lot of sense when you're not taught to love yourself. You're taught to serve the other people or follow the hierarchy and all those things. So I already knew what was going on with her here. Like, she'd said it before, but I knew that that wasn't the real problem. That's why I asked the question. So what's the real problem? And that's when she started digging, like really digging. She closed her eyes and started thinking, because it wasn't about her network marketing business. It wasn't about building a business at all. It wasn't about confidence or even clarity. It all came down to self-love. Everything, the whole pattern. She was looking for all this external validation through the network marketing success that she wants to build, when what she really needed was to connect with herself, to connect with love, for this bigger sense of love that exists in everything. When she had that shift, when she realized what was going on, that internal shift, she realized that she'd been chasing the wrong thing entirely. Network marketing, that business, that was never the path. It wasn't the path for her then, and it wasn't the path for her now. What she wanted all along, but had never allowed herself to think about it, was to serve people. It wasn't clear at the time, but she wanted to coach people. So service directly through her coaching. Not through a product, not through another company or a network marketing company, through her own work, her own voice, her own transformation coming from her own story. That is powerful. And her story alone, spoken in her voice, can serve people at a deep level as well. And the change for her was immediate when she had this realization. Not only in that session, but in the next session, she came in lighter. She came in happier. It's like the baggage was gone, and you could see it. She was actually starting to promote herself immediately as a coach. She put herself out there. She wasn't thinking about it. She wasn't building towards it or waiting for the right time. She started to actually do it. After the intensive, we worked together one-on-one for 12 weeks. Yes, there was a lot of business coaching, but we all know that a person's business is a direct reflection of the business owner. So there's a lot more personal work that needs to be done as well. Getting her clear on her positioning, on her offer, and how to actually sign clients, and how to build up that confidence inside herself to continue on this path and fulfill what she just discovered about herself and how she wants to serve. And with all that, she started building. Over time, and this part really shows you what happens in the power of when you get clear about what you actually want and tapping into who you actually are, she became the coach to a complete board of directors. She'd gotten her Clifton Strength certification, which was amazing, and it was that tool and her coaching that got her into that position. And working at that level is a level that a lot of coaches aspire to, and some may never reach. She did it within 12 to 18 months of her intensive session. And it came as a direct result of actually getting coaching, of agreeing to the work, of getting herself ready, of showing up as who she actually was, not who she thought she should be. And I remember her saying once, in her own words, look, I'm the same person. I just feel like I'm a better version of myself. That's what happens when you stop running from the real work and you start actually doing it. Julie has been one of my favorite clients for a few reasons. She's come back for multiple coaching, but we've built a strong relationship over the years, and I feel like her mentor, and she does call me the mentor sometimes. But her sessions and her intensive and listening to her story and building that relationship has taught me so many different things. One of the things was that you don't really know what you want until you actually start to dig down deep and find it. The problem is never the real problem, and the goal, it's never the real goal. And it's funny because I see this same pattern across every single client that I work with. They come to me with a surface level issue. I need more clients. I need more money. I need better time management. I need to scale. And it's bullshit. Like, all of it. That's the surface stuff. Underneath it all, there's always something deeper. Sometimes it's about self-love. Sometimes it's about a fear of how they'll be perceived out in the world. Sometimes it's about not letting themselves actually want what they actually want. And I know this because I did the same myself. I had to work on me. I had to dig deep into my own problems and my own patterns before I could start my own business and show up authentically and in the way that is true to myself. And that's why I'm so passionate about this work. That's why I love working with clients. That's why I love seeing my clients break through these challenges. Because I know what happens when you finally see not just the truth, but your truth. So if you're stuck right now, if you're capable, if you're smart, if you're doing all the right things, but you still can't break through, get help. Not more information, not another course or another book, but help, real help. Find someone that's going to help you dig deep and find out if you want something which is entirely different to what you think you want, but you've never allowed yourself to think about it. Because here's the truth. A breakthrough isn't about doing more work. It's about seeing what's already there. Just to finish this off, here's a couple of quick questions for you, and they're going to get you to think. What stories are you currently telling yourself which are really about something else? Maybe they're about self-love or self-worth. Maybe they're about confidence or something like that. But what stories do you notice that you're currently telling yourself? How many times have you told yourself the same limiting story? And what if what you think you want isn't actually what you want at all? If these questions are hitting home for you, if you're recognizing yourself in Julie's story, that's your unconscious mind telling you something. This is the exact work that we do in coaching, getting underneath the surface level problems of what's actually keeping you stuck and then doing something about it. One intensive session can change everything for you, just like it did with Julie. If you're ready to dig deep and find out what you actually want, then reach out. Let's have a conversation. There's no pressure, no sales tactics. The link is in the description of this video below. But let's talk, because you don't need more information. You just need to see what's already there. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope you got some value from it. Please share it around. Like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.